Okay. Let me read your comments. Oh, consumer confidence, that's a big drop. Meta could not hold 709. What a loser. Oh my god. Yeah, it is. We'll see what it does now that it retests the neckline from today. So, similar to this is Meta. They had an explosion and now they're going back to the base. I bet you it looks almost identical. Yep. So they had an explosion back to the base. So it would be something if they can get to 702, 701.80 on Meta. That's a large candle. So you don't want to lose the base, 703.4, 703.6. So 702 would have lost the base and then some. Something to watch on Meta. Let me know if you guys are trading it. I'll keep an eye on it. Apple is in the middle of the range of yesterday's range. AVGO, Shigan, Palantir back to the top of the day, not to be left behind. It's ridiculous to buy Palantir based on War Talk and sell Palantir based on War Talk. That's just crazy talk. IBM off the highs. I keep it here because I do have a trade in it that I need to deal with. I got lucky with the QQQ and X dividend. Remember a few days ago I rolled it up and out, and now it's back in the money because of this pop. So, but I was not in the money during the X dividend day. It's like Three Stooges. Whoop, 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 whoop. So I have to mention a few things. Number one is a 599 XSP put, 2,200 transactions. What the hell's going on down there? Normally, if this was the SPX, I would say somebody controlling their margin, but that is a small ticker. You don't need that kind of cash to control your margin on the XSP. I don't know what it is. It's 10 cents for crying out loud. 2,200 transactions already today. And let me see what the open interest there was. Maybe somebody moving some things around. No, there's just 2,200 transactions. There's only 254 open puts there. 10 cents. Okay, so I can see one burst was either 1,000 at 3 minutes after the open, and another 1,000 at 6:54. So 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, 16 minutes ago. They're almost the same size. The price was 10 cents to 10 cents. So they did it by mistake and they reversed it. That's possible. They chose the wrong period. It happens. Very strange. Noted though, okay? 599 XSP. So this is unfolding. This top hat happened. Oh, there you go. Exit. Did anybody log the put for me? I did not write it down. Anyway, that's a win. You are inside of the target zone of losing the support. It should go lower. It should go lower. But look left, there's a small cluster right there. So there is a place and there is a reasonable expectations of an effort to bounce. And again, 604.60 to 604.80 is the place that the bears don't want to lose. Okay, so I'm going to go down to 30 seconds and zoom in on the action. And if you're, I don't want to see them take out this box. I'll make that one yellow. You don't want to lose this yellow box if you're a bear today. KRE, 1 minute. Okay, so if the KRE makes another high of day, this one will try to make another high of day. That's my theory. It's worked for a few weeks. It will stop working at some point. All right, Jack. So Jack closed it for 50%. Valo closed it for 50%. Okay, Jafar. So you made 20 bucks. Not worth mentioning. So really, 20 bucks with this drop? I find that hard to believe. Waiting to see how this 15-minute candle closes. Okay, cool. So what we can say here, how much per contract on the puts? Credit call spread, scalp, $30, 50%, $25. Put 28%. I don't know how much that is. Let's see here. How much are the puts now? That would have been a 605 put. So 230, 28%. So $100, $110, $90 to 110. I'm doing air math. Am I correct? 0.9 or 1.1? I'll go with 90. Because if the put right now at 605, let's go 604. 400. Yep, I think it's $90 to $110. All right, so watching what this guy is going to do with the high of day. Looking at the whole market, risk appetite is alive and well. The VIX is trying to stabilize. There's no evidence of it. Okay, so it's holding the lows of the morning open. The VIX futures are trying to hold the lows from the overnight. We still have 100 headlines flying around. So here's the headline management cycle right now. Last night we had rumors of a headline stated by one guy, unverified, of peace. Market rallied. It rallied. And then it stuttered because another headline came out from CNN saying, nope, that's been unsubstantiated, because they can't have it without saying something like that. And they said that's BS, that hasn't been announced. And then a small dip, and then a higher high based on confirmation from same said guy that nope, we do have it, and here are the details. And then we took off. This morning, there are reports of airplanes flying over to Iran to bomb. They should have gotten there by now. Whether they dropped the bombs or not, I don't know. Tweets flying around this morning, recalling the planes. Take them back now. Don't drop those bombs. Send them back home. Whatever. So once we know that there is a deal, we're gonna pop again, is what I'm saying. This is the old Greek deal from, I don't know, was that 2009? We have a deal. No, we don't. They were smiling, so we must have a deal. No, wait, this guy's not smiling. We don't have a deal. Deal, no deal, deal, no deal. We celebrated it 9 times. I remember. It was very frustrating. And I couldn't tell you in the end if there actually was a deal for the Greek bailout. Remember, austerity, not austerity, brings back memories. That was decades ago. Anyway, so we have a similar situation here. We do have a positive headline that will be celebrated over and over and over and over until it's old news. And if it comes out, the only way you come out and say, no, there's no headline, when bombs actually go flying again. Hopefully not. But if they do, then we get to celebrate this deal again from scratch, the whole cycle. Is the red line down still in play? Yes, but I wouldn't buy a put here. I would buy a put in the yellow box. This is where you buy a call to make a higher high if you want to. I'm waiting to see what this guy will do. If this guy loses its base here, then hold your put if you're still in the put from up there. I said to get a put up here or from a pop. A few of you took a put. So this right there will indicate for me if this one has more upside in it or not. Otherwise, that sold credit call spread might be the easiest money to be done today. I like the fact that two or three of you already closed it for a win, leaving half the money on the table because they recognize the danger of headlines these days. Okay. Those of you who rolled the credit call spread from yesterday, you should be opening credit put spreads today. I said that before the market opened. To make the amount of loss for today potentially smaller. At halfway through the day, come to me and we will roll it to tomorrow and then also sell a put spread. We can't just sit there and do nothing and hope for the best. If I have a credit call spread that doesn't expire today, I'm not pressed to move it today, but I shouldn't wait too long. We do have higher time frame harmonics that are bearish. I'll update us on those. I shared it in the morning note. If you go to your morning note, you'll see it. We also have a weird wick down to 588 on the SPY. We already discussed that ad nauseum, 589. And what else? I'm watching options. I do have some weird stuff going on at 599 XSP, but it looks like a trade and a flip of it for no money. 2,000 transactions. Okay, now I see 400 more, so maybe it's not over. It's 10 cents. I wouldn't buy that 10 cents, but the way to put that in play is to buy tomorrow's put and decide today to take it off. I would not hold puts or calls overnight. I don't care what your conviction level is, you're still gambling overnight. Those of you who were holding calls overnight, congratulations, you made a ton of money. But don't think that that was a clever trade. You just got lucky. And vice versa. So, in other words, don't build a system around success on catching a headline right. Those are unusual situations. Okay. It's not bad. It's great. Enjoy it, but don't build a system around it. That's like saying, oh, I nailed this gambling thing at Vegas. I'm going to quit my job and go gamble for a living. You may be a good gambler, maybe you're not. Okay, let's look at the banks because I think you guys are playing Goldman and Visa and MasterCard. One of these two, I think it was Visa, had a headline that it's working with stablecoins. And in case you didn't notice, the government changed its mind about crypto. It now opened up the doors for banks to do stuff with crypto without special permissions. My. They are eating crow and they're not saying it. They're all eating their words. They put their foot in their mouths for believing in Jamie Dimon and company and Warren Buffett and company and the guy that died and company. With all due respect, they were fools to say whatever they said about crypto. It was a foolish thing what they used to say about crypto. Very foolish. And now they are eating their words. Even the government is eating its words. They put all kinds of restrictions on banks, and I think they just took them off. All right. So this higher high is a little bizarre. They're approaching the yellow box. But this is the candle I'm worried about. Not I'm worried about. I'm looking at right here, this wick and that wick. So the yellow box. There is also a seller at 605.20, but that's almost the high of the day. This doesn't say we're going to blast. It just says maybe. Let's wait and see. So if you buy a call here or a put, you're guessing. If you bought a put, you're tracing out the red. You do have that for you. If you bought a call on the dip, you're buying a dip in order to make a higher high. You do have that working for you. So both theses are correct. I don't have an edge. I don't play. If I'm in a put, I stay in it. If I'm in a call, I stay in it. Coin, yeah, it's been gone for a while. Are you in it? I didn't see. I would not short coin. This is probably pandemic levels. Yep. Ooh, maybe I would short coin and stop out. Just from I don't trade coin, but this chart does not inspire longs here for an investment, for investor. When and what level? I don't know what you're waiting for. Any level, you need to put. You can be as aggressive as you want to. You're already in trouble. I don't know where the level of credit call spread you're in, so make it aggressive, make it count. So in case today doesn't drop, you get $50, $100. It's up to you. I don't know your portfolio. It's impossible for me to answer those questions for you. I can just give you what I would do in your situations. If I had a credit call spread in trouble here, I would confidently sell a credit put spread to bring me cash while I wait when what to do with today. And at the end of the day, I would roll it out, the credit call spread, and open another credit put spread, and maybe even sell a credit call spread above that for today after I roll, maybe to balance out my credit put spread if it's still in the money, if it's still in contention today. If it's not, then I don't do that. So if I'm losing money on a credit call spread, it's okay to sell an aggressive credit put spread, because if I lose money on the credit put spread, I'm already losing money. I just lose less. I told you, it's all on how you define the trade. If you define the trade, okay, it's in trouble. My job is now no longer to make money, it's to lose less money. So bringing any credit that balances that reduces your amount of loss is a smart thing to do. That's the goal, bringing credit to reduce your loss. Secondary goal, avoid max loss. Which means roll with time on the clock. Okay. We breathe. We have, let's look at the heat map for the right perspective. We have a perception that we have a strong market. Let's verify. And let's see if we can see blotchy spots. It's a green market. What is it at? 0.7. It's okay. I'm okay with that. There are some big red boxes, but and some big green boxes, and they negate each other. Maybe the scoreboard is a little too harsh because of AVGO. 4% up on AVGO is adding a little extra juice. So let's see here. What is it? Maybe an extra 0.2 of that SPY. And so 0.55, 0.6. Not 0.2, 0.15. So 0.55, 0.6 would be a better score, but that's splitting hairs. Let's go to the Russell. Again, spotty red spots, but nothing outrageous. This is where probably we have a lot of big green ones on the NASDAQ. Come on. And 1, 2, let's go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this box is huge. Clearly high tech. I don't know how peace in Israel and Iran affects high tech. This is more about Micron, I think, than the peace highlight, right? Because you think something that has to do with oil, something that has to do with something else other than high tech. Anyway, here we are inside an area that is very important for the bears to defend. And I'm watching KRE intently. If you're new, it's weird that I'm watching the KRE, but it has been an excellent market leading ticker. A couple of you were short Tesla yesterday. Use this dip to fix your problems in Tesla. It's not a large dip, but it's a dip. Okay, so how much business did this company do? Billions? Because all of them are up huge. It must be like the massive company. One company in Israel cannot be lifting our entire market. But that's good information. Like, how much business does it give AVGO, ASML, ARM, AMD, AMAT? They're up 5%. That's that's almost as much as a $10 billion deal that it did the other day, that they announced the other day. The partnership with Saudi Arabia. All right, so this is getting pretty ugly for the Bears here. The slow grind higher for bodes. So it inspires 605.8, 606. Let's see. They do have a couple more spots to stop them. The yellow box is definitely one. 605.10, 605.20 is another, and that's so close to the high of the day. Meanwhile, look at the KRE and let's see if it does its own thing. All-time high coming. It's like 1% above here. The goal from 3 weeks ago, this is the third week. 6090 is the SPX target. SPX target. This is the third week. That's what we were tracking. 6090 versus 5890. We came close to 6090 before. This is the second pass at it. We went close to 5890 after hours. And it's a mile below us. So I told you if we hit 6090, we will probably overshoot to 6122 to 6140. I would lay a big fat short if we do that out in time to make my next quarter. I will deal with some of the credit call spread that would be in the money, and I would have to roll them up and out just a little bit, and they'll be fine. And they don't expire this week, so that's the good note. 5890 is not out of the picture yet. We'll see what happens. All-time high coming, of course. I mean, we're right there, and we supposedly don't have any fear. The VIX is not holding 20, 21. And we have a president that comes out and says, buy stocks. And you still can't break into an all-time high. And you have great fundamentals from the leading company. What else do we need? And we have the Fed ready to cut rates when we don't need it. What else do we need? Every asset is as expensive as it is. What else do we need to break out? What else can get better? Marin, that's funny. May hold off on holding rates? What does that mean? He's speaking today and tomorrow. He's testifying in front of the both houses, the Senate and whatever. So he has politicians asking him questions for 2 days. He's holding off on lowering rates. So that lady that spoke yesterday is in direct conflict with her boss. Awesome. You see, everybody speaks. Imagine if the directors in Amazon came out and all spoke after their CEO speaks. You know, the new guy, the new CEO comes out and says, yeah, I think our target is this. We're looking good on this, and we're looking good on that. And then the director comes out and says, yeah, no, our target is not really this. I see this more than that. Explain to you why we don't need rate cuts. Okay, why do you do rate cuts? I'll answer it in asking you, why do you cut rates? To create business development, right? Prosperity. Okay. Signs of prosperity is employment. So how about I go backwards? The job of the Fed, who is responsible to cut rates or not, their job is to create prosperity, to make sure that everybody's employed that wants to work. That's the key point. That's how you create prosperity. You give everybody a job that wants to work. Without its second rule, without creating inflation. Well, they created inflation. They helped create inflation in a big way with the reflation trade out of the pandemic. That's a fact. So they cut rates they make inflation go the other way. And I take offense to all those guys on TV that I see coming out that say, why isn't he cutting rates? Inflation is heading in the wrong direction. That's a lie. Inflation is not heading in the wrong direction, in the right direction. Inflation is still not falling. It is rising at a higher pace than it was rising at before. So it spiked up 9% or whatever, and then it dropped, and then it stabilized, and now it's creeping back up. There's no tell. There's no go buy something. Is it cheaper? Nothing is cheaper. So cutting rates goes against the Fed's mandate, because if you cut rates, you're going to make inflation worse and you're not going to improve the prosperity. We have full employment. We have all-time high asset prices. Every asset you own in your life is more expensive than ever. So cutting rates is not necessary. That's how I can explain it very easily. It's a debatable point. Everybody has an opinion. I can back mine up with math. Can you? That's my take on inflation. We used to, on rate cuts, we used to cut rates when we had an issue. Bernanke cut rates when the economy was shrinking and business was money was tight. We cut rates and bought bonds which is another form of creating inflation and saving the economy, when the world shut down. We had on paper 12 million, 13 million new unemployment claims a week or something like that in the US. I honestly don't remember the numbers, but it was in the millions. Yeah. So that warrants cutting rates. That warrants buying bonds. Up here, markets are at all-time highs. Asset prices are at all-time highs. Everybody's employed, and GDP is flattish red. Flattish red. Where's the crisis? So what would you do if you cut rates now and a crisis comes? I'm asking, just tell me. That's honest, open for debate. The stuff I said I had numbers to back up is my statements on the inflation. You can go back and look at the inflation numbers and you will see I'm not saying anything wrong. Cut more, but you can't go more than zero. We don't have a lot to cut. People say interest rates are so high. Well, you must be super young. I told you my first house, I refinanced down to 7% or 7.5%. I can't remember exactly. Right on. Nice work on Goldman Sachs. So look at the KRE in the bottom. Now it has a potential spike. So watch this guy to decide whether these guys are going to make another high. I put the yellow box, drew it by hand. That's a place that the bears need to defend. The fact that we got to it is bad news for the bearish sentiment. And the VIX just made a lower low. Oh, let's look at AlgoFlow. Hello, friend. AlgoFlow, where you at? Where you at? AlgoFlow is red. What? And diverging. So prices are going higher and tiny little divergence on the AlgoFlow. The AlgoFlow from Traditix is red, barely red, but it's red on a World Peace Day. We already nailed one put. If you want to buy a put here, you can. If you're holding calls from buying the dip, which I said is totally good, I would exit my calls here because I don't know if they have it in them to burst higher in the S&P. You need another player. So you need Apple to wake up, which it can. Apple can go to 203, which is target 2 on a harmonic on this dip. This dip, minus 0.2%. Palantir is approaching the high of yesterday. At one point, it was red today. Semiconductors are leading. NVIDIA can't hold the highs. What a wuss. Bond, huge rally in bond. Huge. That's in response to one of the headlines you guys said, consumer confidence or whatever it was. Even Hims. Things are so good, even Hims. Downside pressure? Not yet. Maybe $1. But I haven't looked at the gamma pressure. So let's see here. The only gamma today was 60.95. I told you earlier, 60.85 and 60.95 now is even bigger than 60.85. So everybody's looking up. Everybody is looking up. Nobody's looking down. And this close to an all-time high, why aren't they busting through it like it's not there? It's pretty weird. Did you sell any credit call spread out in time today? I have not. I haven't done anything except book profits on some trades that I mentioned. I mentioned gold and GDX. That's a huge win in gold. That's the second opportunity it gives you to get out. If you followed me into this debit put spread at 312, 302, it's worth $700, $800 today. That means you're leaving $200 to $300 on the table. It expires on Monday. I would not be in it, especially that we sold call spreads to finance it. So it's free money. Free money. Take it. $700 out of thin air. GDX was a credit call spread that was green, that went red, and today is back to I closed it for a 20-cent loss. I don't want to deal with it. It may win, it may not win. I'm not dealing with it. Only 3 days left on the clock. These guys are fools. I'm out. If you followed me into those two, that's my update. I'm out. The silver trade is up 40, 50% in a couple of days. Trim it. It's hundreds of dollars. It's a really good win. I think it's $50 a contract. Up to you what you want to do with it. It's up 42%. I'm leaving mine on. The chart of silver on a high time frame says that it has a lot more to go. But if you need a win, scalp. You can spread it. Here's a mini lesson. If I buy a put here, okay, and I get lucky and this happens, if I paid $2 for the put and this happens, and now I can sell this one for $2, so now I have zero cost, and I would own a debit put spread. So if this continues to fall, this grows into its full value, however it is. If there was $3 apart, this turns into $300, and it costs me nothing. So let's say price bounces, and this turns into 150. Okay, 150, and I close it, but it didn't cost me anything, right? So even if the spread loses money, I don't. I had -2 +2. I had zero cost in it. Any value I sell this back out is pure profit. That's called spreading it, right? Creating a spread after the fact. Sometimes it's a credit. I've had situations where I buy a put or a call, and then price goes in my favor. I sell a put way below or a call, and I collect the credit. So if I buy this for $2, I sell this one for $3, and now I got paid $1 plus $1 to own a debit put spread. And any value I sell the spread for is gravy on top of this. So that's what you can do in that silver trade. Let's see a real life example. The trade we bought was August expiration, and it cost us $1.35. Okay, so let's go to August, and it's at 33.5. So the 33.5 put was $1.35. Now it's $1.92. I can sell the 32.50 for $1.30. Okay, so that means I would have a $1 debit put spread for which I didn't pay anything. So between now and then, any money I get from selling that debit put spread, 50 cents, 40 cents, $3, it can't be $3, $1 max, is pure profit. That's just a real life example. There's not a lot of money in it. In this case, I wouldn't do it. You can sell a diagonal, etc., etc. I am just going to let it run. Again, anybody in trouble with a credit call spread that you rolled, immediately at the open, I suggested you sell a credit put spread. And if that one died, you sell another one. So now you have $1 from yesterday. The roll didn't cost you anything. I told you to add 50 cents from yesterday. If you didn't, this was your add. 50 to 70 is what I said yesterday. So if you did it today, then you got yourself $1.50 or $1.70 in credit, thereby reducing your maximum loss. If you did roll it yesterday and you got 50 cents, and then you roll it today, you open another one today because that 50 cents went to zero in your favor. You're basically rolling it up, and you open another 50 or 70. So now that person has $2.20. So now you've reduced your loss to 50-50 shot almost, 60-40. You can lose 2.8 versus $4. And at the end of the day, you decide to roll it again one more time and repeat the process, get another 50-70. So by this time tomorrow, you would still have a problem trade that could lose you maybe 2.3 or 2. Repeat the process until it's manageable loss, and you get out. Can we still sell a credit put spread now? Of course, if you have a credit call spread, what are you waiting for? I mean, you wasted an hour and 10 minutes already of degradation in premium. If I'm struggling with a credit call spread and I keep hesitating on doing a credit put spread, it means the message hasn't hit home. Your primary job is to lose less money, not to win. So you should not hesitate to take the other side. I hit on that point yesterday, and before the market opens today, you were here, and I know you heard these words. I said that. Sell a credit put spread even though you think we're going to drop. And in fact, I said wait for a dip, and we did get a dip. So it would have been so much better if you did it somewhere below that red line. And now we're approaching the highs not led by the KRE. So this one is all tech. All tech. The TLT is exploding to where it's going to be interesting to see what they do on Okay, keep your eye on the bond market. That's all I have to say. Powell speaks today. I don't know what time. Powell speaks tomorrow. I don't know what time. We have GDP coming, which is a report card on the country. And last one, I believe, was negative. If it's positive, expect a rally. If it's negative, but as expected, expect a rally. The only way we don't rally on these headlines is if it is absolutely atrocious. Like if they're expecting -3%, which is horrible, and we get -3%, which is horrible, we will rally because it's expected. Just like the bombings. We expected the bombings, they happened, we rallied. They happened as expected. So don't be bearish for no reason. And if you are, use levels to decide what you do with your trades. And if you have thousands on the line in one direction or another, take the other side. If you insist on holding a position that is sizable, it should be easy decision to take the other bet. So for example, if I trade the RUT, I would buy IWM. So if I'm buying RUT puts, I would buy IWM calls. They're minuscule compared to the puts in the RUT, but at least if we have a huge move, I would have hundreds of dollars coming in to offset my losses on the other side. It doesn't fix everything, but it sure makes it easy. And if I nail my entry on the RUT puts, the sacrifice calls will be minuscule. Another new low in the VIX. Algo flow still negative. 598 is the highest gamma on the SPY today. But honestly, if we go above 605 and hold above 605, that's us way far. There is a huge thing in the bottom going on with the XSP. We'll see what that is all about. There's a lot of calls transacting at 6100, and there are a lot of puts transacting on the NDX at 22,050, which is a mile away from here. It's at like $115. Downside pressure definitely now evident by the XSP. The XSP does not want to be this high today. So I can buy another put with a stop here. If I have calls, I would exit, and I'm going to log this one. Let's see here, 605. I would buy the 605 put here. Expiration today. It's what's wrong here? Where is the zero? Where is the DTE on this one? Is today the 23rd? Ah, that's why. 06, no, 250624. Okay, so my log of $90 was off. I used the wrong math. It should be like $30 because I used yesterday's prices. Okay, it is a $90 to buy the 605 put. That's pretty cheap. The VIX is low, so that explains it. And I would think there is a buyer inside the yellow box. So the first place they buy it, the dip, that will be here. The second place is 604.3. So let's see if they're able to come down to the green line. These guys, I have them here. Do I not have the... Maybe I don't. I had them. I don't have a dot. 15 minutes. Okay. Got it. Drum roll. So this here box is from December 18th. A pretty bad day last year. I'm pretty sure that that's that box. Let's keep that in mind. This candle matters. So 604.50, 604.30 matters. If they come back into the yellow box, they're going to hold support. Don't buy a put at all if you're struggling with credit call spreads. Nothing. This is for somebody that's just trading today, okay? Because you don't want to go against the grain when you're already struggling. Now, the reasons why I'm going against the grain is A, I have a harmonic building. B, I have a prior fail. C, I have a negative algo flow. And the downside pressure from the options and the magnet from the SPY. So I do have quite a few things going. So it's not like I'm picking a fight. There's the harmonic. So the stopping point on this one, technically 605.80. I wouldn't stop out at 605.80. I would stop out a little bit higher. So make the stopping point money based. So if you spent $90 on the put, okay, you say, okay, I would let it go to, pick a number that is comfortable for you. 60 bucks, 70, 50, you choose. Early in the day, I'm a bit brave with my stops. Early in the day. If I have decent enough charts, decent enough price action, this is decent price action once we opened. This price action is pretty decent. If we touch the all-time highs, we're going to pass them very easily. There is no way we go to the all-time highs and don't pass them very easily and exceed the expectations. So technically speaking, with very few little scary points that is scaring the market, this is the bravest, most brave market I've seen ever. This is on a different level, and I've lived through the dot-com boom. The dot-com was just, they're chasing the dot-coms. Now they're chasing a bunch of stuff and ignoring a bunch of other stuff. So it's weird. It's a different beast. Of course, I wasn't at the same level back then. I wasn't in the same mindset. I was still an investor more so than a trader. But I can judge, I think. Anybody that's stuck in a trade that you want help with to roll out of it today, please let me know. That's why we're here. We're here to help each other through tough times and try to create through some trade opportunities. Meanwhile, back in the YouTube, Okay, so compulsive, you're living up to your name. You're already determining how Nike is going to react. Doesn't it report on Friday? So what gives you such confidence that it should be lower? How do you know it's going to be lower? I don't touch Crackle, no. A good friend says to buy on hold. I would buy on hold. CRCL. Ragu did homework, and if he believes it's going higher over time, I wouldn't short it. I'm speaking to people on YouTube. People on YouTube, I do have. The group is about 182, 183 people today. You don't see them because they're not on YouTube. They're inside of a private chat room. If you're not members, you should check it out. 15-minute on the cues. Tell me, what about it? Give me a target. Up, down, sideways. Give me a target. I don't have it. Bat, so down. Hunting point D, is that what you're saying? I have a bearish harmonic I'm working on here, so I don't have the cues on my screen. Help me out. So the put is up 8 cents, which is $7, 7% or 8%. Okay. Okay. I would never, ever in a million years trade the earnings report based on what I think the report is going to be quality wise. I have mathematical proof that that is a false idea. You can believe it yourself, but I'm telling you, mathematically, you're gambling. Okay, I can prove it to you mathematically. Yeah, yeah. I cut Benzinga off. They cut themselves off of the live room. Unfortunately, a bunch of people had to bow out. In spite of that, we still have 180 people here. They don't love me anymore. They have a new boyfriend. Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, I did great work since 2011. Number one service there, except for one period of time. 2017, I want to say they opened a channel for that concentrated on pot stocks, and the guy did keep his people busy, and it was very, very popular. I could not beat him. Can't compete with pot. But the live room was amazing, alive and well. So anyway, back to hey, thanks for the heart. Back to back to the conversation on earnings. Mathematically, if you think about it, Nvidia fell on earnings that blew every other major company out of the water, including Palantir. Their earnings were twice as strong as Palantir's, and the stock falls. So using your logic would have gotten you long the stock, and you'd have lost money. So you shorting Nike because the reports are going to be bad is not smart. It's a pure gambling. There's a lot of gambling. In fact, let's go research for you since you're here. I don't do the research until the day they report. Then I look at the options and then I'll give you an educated guess. All right. So your impression that they react negatively is correct. Almost every reaction looking back 6 or 7 reports is negative. Two of them were really negative and the rest were in line negative. So guessing down is what it usually does. That's what you got going for you. But guessing down because the report is going to be bad is not the reason why you would guess down. Either way, I would still look at the options and see how they treat it this time. CRCL, strong company, penalties for overtime. Why would you mention? Oh, surpass Palantir stock performance. Yeah, no doubt. So I listened to Raghu, and he said speaks highly of CRCL. I don't need to do homework. If he did it, I don't need to do it. The KRE broke out. The S&P will too. So we're probably going to 605.80. You can still hold that put. That still works. Above 605.80, this red W becomes questionable. The KRE has been a leading indicator for a couple of weeks, and they just made a higher high. Watch the XLF follow if it does. 1 minute. Well, 1 minute. It will probably yank the S&P with it. We'll see. Maybe today is different. And these guys are inside of a base. They too can rally back and recover the morning highs. I still would stay in that put. Scientifically speaking, this put still works, whether starting it here. If I'm not in it, I would start it up here. 605.80 is still okay for this put. According to AI, high interest rates are good for banks. That is incorrect. High interest rates with large margins, yes. So they need the short-term borrowing cost to be much lower than the long-term lending cost for them to make money. They make money off the spread. That's why when the Fed cut rates, they helped the bank make more money, and the bank said, "Screw you, people! I'm not dropping the rates." The Fed rate cuts did not go into the market, but it made the borrowing for the banks cheaper. So the banks were borrowing at a much lower rate, and they were not giving us the break. So the Fed must mandate, they have to somehow physically force the banks to follow them, which I don't think would be legal, but they should, because they did the rate cuts in order for us to buy more houses and more cars. That's the idea. Make it cheaper for the banks to borrow money so they can lend us. That's how you create an aura of prosperity. But the bank said, "Thanks for the money, Fed. I'm not going to drop my rates." The mortgage rates went up in that period of cutting rates from the Fed. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something. AI is a dumbass. They make mistakes all the time. They're saying half truths here. Like the first one, okay, I get it. That second part about rate hikes, who's doing rate hikes? Nobody. So what? How does that help us? I know for a fact that we are stretched to the limits in the U.S. We are stretched to the limits. The government is stretched to the limits. The people are stretched to the limits. We're in debt up to our eyeballs. We can service the debt, so that's fine. God help us if we have something go wrong. We have a disaster in the making, which means hold your VIX calls. They're freaking free. Are they even losing money? Let me check. Barely. They were green yesterday. They're flattish red today. Mine are red because I bought them before you guys. If you bought them in the last announcement, you're flattish. Maybe some of you are green. It's free insurance. All right, here we go. Okay, so the put is up 30%, 28%, $26. Exit. The target one is 604.50. This is pretty damn close to target one. Exit. Scalp it. Target two is much lower if you want to hold it. So this is 30%, $28 on the put. If you don't mind missing out on the profits, just stay in it and then lock it below this red line. I doubt we're going to be able to break through this red line easily. We have too many soldiers wanting to go so much more than we've already done. We have 0 Fs given in the world, especially in the US. So red ticks are hard to come by. And if you're struggling and you want to book, read my morning notes. Today's, I don't think I said it. I said every day before today, scalp wins on the bear side. I said bulls sell calls, covered calls, sell call spreads to balance, blah, blah, blah. For bears, and I said use spikes to fix problems. Like if you were long a stock and the stock gets relief, fix problems. Not too many of those. But bears use dips to exit. and scalp. This was a scalp. Now, if they make a higher high, now you can calculate 606.4, 606.6 as a target. And look at the mega caps, upper right hand corner. Whee! 20%? All right, Mike. So I will reduce this one. I don't want to overstate it. So let me get to that point. How could you have gotten, not Mike, anybody, if I bought a put and I paid $90 to open it and I was okay scalping $20 or $25, I would immediately turn around and sell it and ask for that extra $20. The order will not fill. It'll just sit there because I'm asking too much. This wick would have filled it. So this is when you hear people say, I got filled. Okay. So the bad thing about it is you're telling the market maker your plan ahead of time. They don't give a crap. You're too small at this time of day. And the bad thing about it is if we do get a giant red tick that takes us to 600, you miss out on a whole bunch of money. But if the goal is to make money, not all the money, that should be okay, especially in this environment. Bo got filled. High five. The put still works. The same reason I took the put still exists. So I would stay in it if I had it. The KRE made a higher high, which inspires higher highs in the S&P. Let's see if they do it. EU's readies retaliatory tariffs to secure better deal with Trump. Oh, come on. I'm so sick and tired of these headlines. They can all take a flying leap. Leave us alone. No, I buy in the money and at the money VIX calls. I don't mess around with cheap stuff. Oh, yeah. So the KRE broke out. The S&P will follow. Doing 100% success ratio with that one. KRE is a leading indicator. 100% success. The EU doesn't sell anything. I went into a battle on TikTok with some jackass. He said something about the U.S. The U.S. should learn from, and he mentioned some small country. I mean, I'm sure it's a lovely country. I can't remember which one. He said the U.S. should learn from this. I was like, the U.S. should learn. Like, where the U.S. leads the world in every metric possible. And he goes, name one. I stopped. I stopped engaging. I said, everything you want, everything anybody wants in the world originated in the US. And everything, including debt. Yes, we export debt, we export inflation. Google, Apple, Levi's, Nike, you name it, it comes out of the US. Everything people want in the world came out of here. NVIDIA, Intel, IBM. Yes, even IBM. And it didn't come by chance. This is the hardest working people, Simple Stocks. Hell yeah. This country works too much. Too much. It's not a coincidence. Camembert, Camembert doesn't come from here, thank God. Who wants to eat Camembert anyway? I actually like Camembert. Labubu didn't come from the US. Is that what you're saying? I'm guessing. What I'm saying, it's not a crappy country to be in, is what I'm saying. The French invented liberty and crepe. I'm going to refrain from the comment. Crepe. Crepe was invented by Rome, I think. Somebody back in the Roman Empire invented crepe. I think it's way older than the French. Hold on. I remember, what's his name? That Irish TikToker. Noon? Garen? He did a whole skit on that. We'll see. Oh, Maxine Waters. That should be fun. Woo. No. He's talking to politicians. That lasts for hours. Good Lord. Okay. The put. Let's pay attention to it. Oh, it's still green. Okay, hold it. I don't know what that means. July rate cut seems to be getting baked. Baked as in dead or getting baked as in baked in? Like from his wording. Like it's becoming a real thing. Thank you, Ryan. That's Ryan, third or fourth contribution. Oh, supportive. Okay. Woohoo! Rate cuts. That means he sees bad GDP coming tomorrow. Well, before the VIX moves up, we want it to stop moving down, right? There's no stabilization yet. Lower lows and lower highs. Once I see a change in that behavior, it's probably going to come from the VIX futures, which have not yet made a lower low. Can we get it? Why couldn't we? Oh, the down below, you mean the squiggly mark? Yes. It's still early in the day. You see stable economic that supports a possible cut. What? Okay, I guess I don't understand rate cuts. A stable economic condition that supports a possible cut. So does he mean stable inflation conditions? All right, we'll see. We'll see if the market cuts with him. I bet not. We're going to have another round of rate cuts that don't that only make the banks fatter. So go long JP Morgan like Ryan just did. The banks are going to be fat and the economy is not going to benefit from the rate cuts. What? This is in direct contradiction. Oh my god. Okay. Let's look at the TLT. The TLT says he said rate cut. The TLT is taking a nosedive. I mean a super spike. So the TBT is taking a nosedive. The TNX TBT. Oh my god. Okay, so somebody's misinterpreting this move. Speaking of misinterpreting, the algo flow is up to green. It swung to green. It's no longer diverging. So the bulls have an advantage. This is the opportunity for the bulls to take it. Yes, I would be in it too. But you should know that I think it starts from 605.90 or 605.80. Let's look at the algo flow. We did that. Let's look at the options. Some downside pressure, especially if the XSP says we should drop $2 to $3. And 60.95 is the highest magnet on the SPX, 60.95. And second highest, 60.80 and 85 cluster. Both of those are bigger than the 95. So we have upside pressure from gamma, GEX exposure, gamma exposure 0 DTE. Now, the SPY, completely messy picture. They have three magnets. Take your pick. 606, 603, and 598. Yes, 598. In fact, 598 just lost a little bit. The biggest one is 606. Now, here's the thing, though. 604 is the factor. You have a lot of support. Like the other two magnets, 603, you have to cut through a lot of support. So it's not going to be easy. But if we lose 604, we may drop quickly. So tall task for today's bears to do that. On the QQQ, there's not a lot of clues. So I'll keep an eye on the options to see if anything sticks out. Remember those 2,000 transactions in the XSP at 599? There hasn't been any increase in those transactions. So my take is somebody tried to make money early and then reversed the trade right away. They had no loss, and it was about 1,100 contracts each. I don't know why they would do that, but it was in puts for today's expiration. There is a large put position that I see transacting on the NASDAQ for today, the NDX. It's only, let me go see it. 300 transactions. I rarely look at the NASDAQ, the NDX. What level? 22,050. Yeah, 300 puts at 22,050. That's a 23 delta. They're $1,500. It could be somebody using them to create cash or control margin. I don't watch the NASDAQ often, but I thought I'd mention it. Here's a weird thing. So remember this iron butterfly at 5,900? It's not at max loss yet. In fact, it's only down 50% if those quotes are real. I expect it to be at max loss. It expires on Monday. I don't think it's a bad idea to buy a straddle. I hate straddles. But hey, I need to forward this message. I'm going through my I'm going through my alerts to see if there's anything actionable. Most of them say, I had a few alerts come off. Like I had the KRE alert go off. It said resistance zone above. I remember putting that alert yesterday or the day before. So I've been eyeballing that for a few days. This is just to let me know that I don't start calls here. I don't give up on bearish bets here if I'm still in them. I don't dig my heels, but we might see some selling here in a few tickers, so we'll see. Well, we'll see. So the mega caps did bounce upper right hand corner. Let's see if they can take out 2200. These are the top 7 companies. Only one ticker for Google, not 2. So I'm basically looking at this candle right here and that one, this hammer. I'll put a line to see if they're able to take out that line. That's the hammer. Well, that's a terrible line, but I'll just leave it there. The put itself is now down 10 cents because time has elapsed and we're a little bit higher, so that makes sense. And the VIX is not lower, so that didn't contribute. Leaders, they're all the same. Palantir about to break out. So Palantir, the elasticity in Palantir is admirable. Just unbelievable. The amount of travel it does in one day is just over the top. The TLT is looking to break out from yesterday's high, and it's very close to last week's highs. So if it takes out 87.7, in theory, it has a big move higher, which means multiple rate cuts, not just one. Okay, so I don't know what to do with this headline. Is it 2 headlines in one? So the one headline is Iran vows, and then the Russia headline is another one. This as, how do you... Same headline has 2 entities in it. One comes from Russia, one comes from Iran. Right, but who sent that headline? That's 2 headlines in one. The one headline says Iran vows. That's Iran vows. The other one says Russia suggests hiding stockpiles. So is this the Russian guy saying that Iran vowed, or is this 2 separate headlines? Okay, so Iran says something that is inconsistent with the headlines from yesterday, and Russia has another headline saying that they will help them do that. I have a feeling that this is a Russian guy talking on behalf of Iran, which may or may not be true. Anyway, Not that important right here. Yeah, because now we announce wars. It's like the cops. I'm going to raid your house. Make sure you don't have any. I'm going to look for drugs in that room. Make sure you don't come to my house. I mean, what? I'm going to bomb you on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, right in this area. I'm hoping to get you. Thanks for the heads up. You're not going to get me. This new way of doing war is way different than when I did it. In the olden days, you went under the cover of night and you came in when nobody expected you. I guess the war is different now. It's honorable. Should we pick up a glove and slap him in the face? Like old school? Pa, 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 and drop it on the ground? Yeah. Ugh. Okay, so you guys are obsessed with the stock CRCL. You want my opinion? You missed it. Wait for a crash and get into it. Are you trading CRCL or are you looking to invest? To answer your question, Neve, if you're looking to invest, that's somebody on YouTube. Sell or put to own shares, buy shares, do whatever. Just make sure you leave room to double your order or more. You can't time it perfectly. If you're investing, the point of it is to enter a piece at a time. If I enter here and the market crashes 50% in the next 10 years, 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, I don't know, then add another batch and control your position that way. If you're looking to trade it, roll up your sleeves and put a seatbelt on. Take a couple of Dramamine pills because that thing is bumpy. So tell me, what are you doing? Are you investing or are you trading? So I can help you. All right. So I see 220, 236, and 206 is a zone of importance. This candle right there. I think there's an open gap to 184. I personally would want to not get into it until 184 or lower. So if you force me to sell a put, I would not sell it anywhere above 184. Ideally 160 or lower. You're saying, Nick, you cannot get there. Maybe not. Then I missed it. I was a dummy to miss it the first time. I'm not going to be a dummy to chase it up here. So trading wise, if I'm an investor, and I want to own it for the long term, I would sell a January $100 put or $120 put and collect $1,800 or $1,400 and forget about it. This way, maybe I own the stock at 100 or 120. Maybe I don't. If I don't, I made how much is that? Let's see here. 15%. Right, Wolf? Yeah. I told you, Wolf. Track I have a thesis on this KRE thing, by the way. Anyway, so that's my trade on CRCL. If you force me, I would sell a put at 120 or 110. I would generate 15% win if nothing happens, and if something happens, I own the stock and I break even at or below 100, and I wouldn't even look at it twice. If you guys are insisting that it's an awesome company, that would be the awesome way to do it. How much do they require in premiums? That's the question. Let's see. If I sell the 120 put, $10,000. But you're making 1,800, right? So you can turn it into a wide credit put spread. That's still 18% efficacy. So efficiency. So I'm locking up 10,000 to make 18% of them. That's not bad. Just make sure that's not a good chunk of your portfolio. That would be bad. That's a speculative stock. And I would definitely sell some calls against my shares. I would buy shares, sell calls immediately, which means you will collect thousands of dollars for selling the calls. So you would write it from here to, say, 350 and not have to worry about it. And if it falls to 180 or 200, you'd still be okay. I bet you the calls are allowed. Well, on the next dip, friend, on the next dip. All right, back to watching the leader of the free world. Okay, so we have the mega caps at a place where I think might be an issue. Let's see. And leadership. Apple still hasn't lived up to its potential. I honestly can't tell you who's leading the market right now. The XLI is okay. The XLF is strong all day. So I don't know who right now is actually goosing it up. So maybe the XLP is coming back. Somebody, let's see, 15 seconds, 30 seconds to match the market. So the XLP had a little burst. How about the materials? No. The XLY is coming back. So Tesla, no. Amazon, okay. XLC is strong all day. XLK strong all day. XLV, nope. XLF, nope. So it's just the mega caps are doing their thing, and now some of the ETFs are getting goosey and looking to break out. So we'll see. This here, folks, is where this red W starts to become questionable at best. Okay. So above 605.80, it is null and void to a large degree. And you look left, this is an old battle station. It should say 1218. Okay. So on 1218, we had a tremendous drop. In January, we had another one. Early February, we had another one. So this is an old topping formation. It being old means it's not very effective. It's just a zone. It's never a hard line. Although this was a hard line. The 611 high, that seems pretty high. We were higher than this on 611? Okay. I'll trust my line. Interesting. So I'm going to tell you, if the mega caps don't break out, they can retrace lower to hunt point D. That's a big if, right? So when something looks like this to me, it comes down from below, up, down, and back up. If this doesn't make a higher high, they don't tend. There's an opportunity for them to test the lows from today, and if they lose them, they end up much lower. I wouldn't draw it because it's not proper. It doesn't look right. But that's the thing. You need to break out. Everything is going the bull's way. Every headline, and even when it's iffy, they assume the best. Like one of you said that he's conducive to rate cuts, and the headline is in print and bright red. No, he isn't. So we have two stories, and but that's, I don't think, matters whether he cuts rates or not. I don't think it because the banks are not going to cut rates. They're not going to give us the money. They didn't last time. Okay, so you did well. You got in at 62, you got out at 160. So you were trading, not investing on CRCL. That's good. But the investors, it's an easy investment, obviously. You buy 100 shares if you can afford it, and you sell a covered call, aggressive one, or you sell a put to buy 100 shares. They pay you thousands. It's priced like it's what is that Bitcoin company? The one from Michael Saylor. It's priced like that. The options are expensive as hell. MSTR. I have a trade on that one. Let me see what it's doing. Who can say that they have a trade on MSTR and they haven't looked at it twice? Me. Okay, so it's 50% of its maximum gains. How pain free is that? 61%. We sold a call, we sold a put, and I shared a call spread, a short call spread, and short put spread for December. And overall, all four legs put together, we collected 165. Now they're worth 64. So you made $100 out of thin air. And it was a $10 wide spread. Easy. 10% yield on that. Super sleepy trade. Boring is beautiful. And when you can make a stock as wild as MSTR be boring, that is an accomplishment. You can't do it with anything else other than options. Ba-dum. There are only a couple of red stocks in the market today that I see on my list. Very few. So I have a put in the USO. Let me look at the chart. I should have added to it. If I had added to it, I would be out for greens today. But I to be honest, I slipped my mind. It has 24 days on the clock. It's set at 37. No, sorry. Boy, it's set at 70. So what's the delta on 70? 30. I definitely should have added. Okay. I'll leave it one more day to see what's going on with that one. I bought it before the breakout and the war talk. Who's moving the market? Everybody. Take your pick. Here's the market for you. You got financials, huge greens, tech, huge greens, mega caps, huge greens. You can count them on your fingers, the ones that are red. Costco's red. That's bizarre. O'Reilly, Tesla, Procter. Oracle up huge, Netflix up huge, CRM up huge, AMD up huge, war companies like RTX down. Not huge, just down. Okay, so I'm going to say it one more time. You need to hedge. Because if somebody doesn't hedge, they're up a lot or down a lot every day. That is not a life that would last. You would be up, 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 and then down, 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 and you either have extreme success or extreme difficulties. So counterproductive. That's my experience. You can do what you want. $60.90, the target from 3 weeks ago, the upside target, $60.90. They came close to it twice. This is as close as we've been to it. I would call it done. We're there. If we get there, 61.22 was a number I started mentioning in the last few days, and 61.40. 20 to 40, I would short big time. Right now, I am not adding to my position. I'm waiting for a burst. This is not it. We're approaching the breakout zone. If we burst out into it, that's the burst I would short. Technically, right here, they just triggered a target that is $2 of upside from here. They left my box. They will give you half the box or all of the box. In this environment, I would count on all of the box available. And the width of the box is $2 and change. Let's go with two nice round numbers. So 607.40 is totally doable. 606.80 would be the stopping point. I would imagine they would stop at the 6011 high, so that's 606.40. So 605.80 and 606.40 would be the landing zone of this breach. And this one is not coming on the KRE's back. So now we have other components that are taking the baton and running. A little bit of the mega caps. Everyone is pitching in. Apple hasn't even started to pitch in. We'll see if it turns around. The industrials a little bit. The financials not. So the financials stabilized. This is other things. So in here there are a couple weeks ago the materials led, and this is a spike in the materials. So even the hedges, the staples are rallying. Things like even silver is rallying, gold is rallying. What is happening here? So now the rally off of the headline of the war dipped gold. So now they have completely eliminated the conversation of war. It's gone. The fact that now gold is moving with assets, not Bitcoin yet. So they don't have a safety trade anymore. Everything is up for grabs. We're hodling. The materials, the staples, those are the two drivers right here. The Y is up on Amazon, so that's same as the one on top. And the XLC and XLK have been strong all day, so it's not like anything different. Holy moly. And when these guys rest, these guys will break out because they're very slowly taking out the problem areas. There's this candle. Now we're into the wicks. So this one, the cluster of mega caps, now they're into the wicks. Above the wicks, they have freedom to the size of that explosion. So we can double the greens in this group, ready to do it if these guys rest or both. So we might be up 1.5% today if we don't have a serious dip in this one or a flash reversal on a bomb dropping somewhere. To be honest, I hope they don't drop any bombs anywhere. I want to bury that headline of war and not war. Otherwise, if there is an infraction that renders the ceasefire null and void, we will have to go through all of this one more time, not to mention the cause of concern for life. So I want it to be behind us, just like the tariffs, so we can focus on some business and look at some information from Micron's earnings to see if there's more upside that we hadn't counted on. instead of being hostage to headlines. So, having this been very reliable, I'm going to buy an XSP put for tomorrow's or Friday's, banking that the carry is telling us this is extended. Just one, get it out of my system. Let me see here. XSPY, because if I forget it, it's cash settled. There's no issues. It trades like an index. They're not cheap, so maybe I'll buy it for the 30th at the money, $300. I'll rent it. I'll decide on it later today. $350. 608 XSP put, $350, a little bit less. I'll see how it performs. 608 put, XSP, 630 expiration. You heard it. I just said it. XSP at the money, 630. If you're already struggling, don't do this. Okay? And this is me saying the leader is not as happy right here. So it could turn out to be a fast scalp. If not, it's me just adding one little tiny bearish bet that gets it out of my system. Otherwise, I'll start looking for credit call spreads to sell, and I don't need to. I have a couple I need to worry about. So I need to sit on my hands and do nothing today is what I need. So this gets it out of my system. And I'm actually shorting into a prior fail. I just don't trust it because it's from December, January, and February. It's pretty old. The one that's not very old is the one from 611, unless this line is wrong. Can somebody confirm that on 611 we were at 606.40? I don't remember that. No, I would not. I don't have any bone to pick with any of those successful stocks. I would short the QQQ easier than the short Meta all by itself. If Meta is falling, the market is falling. But Meta is a momentum stock and it's a beast. Its financials are unbelievable. It's really out of this world. So I would not short Meta for any reason. Same with Netflix. Same with Microsoft. I would balance my book. If I sold the put spread, if I own shares, I would definitely short Meta via credit call spread or covered calls or something. I'll be right back. So I just went on Twitter for a second while I was waiting for my cup of coffee, and there is no ceasefire. Israel did bomb Iran after the deal. So what the hell are we celebrating here? Which is speaks more to my statement that they just want to rally. The reason why it doesn't matter. It's perception. On 611 by wick. Okay, thanks, Jack. So we did have a wick at the SPY at 611. In the SPY on 611 towards 606.40. Thanks for checking. All right, nice work, Larry. Mega caps ready to break out from their daily range. I think Apple would need to help a little bit. Keep Nvidia on your screen. What the hell is going on with Nvidia? Look at that squeeze. Comes out of the gate strongest, and now it's pinpoint. So much energy. So much energy ready to pop or drop. Drum roll. And Nvidia is the market. Wherever Nvidia goes, the market goes. The VIX futures have not yet made a lower low today. The VIX has, not the futures. The VIX contracts expire tomorrow. Boeing is well off the highs. It had a huge spike and now it's off the highs. I am short Boeing. Let me see if my trade is still viable. I thought I was in trouble. Oh, I do have one of them that's under fire. And it's at 240. So yeah, I'm okay. In fact, I would start that trade today if I wasn't already short Boeing. But I'm not going to because I have 3 other trades in it. All winners, by the way. Boeing has been a piggy bank, and one of them is a credit put spread. Okay. Okay, so those were not my instructions this morning, by the way. I said sell a put spread this morning. You keep waiting for a dip on a trend day, you're not going to get it. And if you do get it, it's too late to sell a credit put spread because time has elapsed to where it doesn't make any sense to do it. You missed the opportunity. Okay. There's a noise in my house. There shouldn't be any noises. Hold on. Wow, it's like a gardener 3 houses away. Sounds like he's in my garage. I don't know how you can say that with a straight face, Maria, honestly. So I told you the reason. If I'm losing money on a credit call spread and the price is above my credit call spread, that means that trade is lost. My actions must be driven by one thing and one thing only: reduce the amount of loss, period. The only way you can do that is by bringing more credit. So you have to sell something or buying something. Since you're not buying calls, you have to sell something. The decision not to sell something is hopeful that it comes back. But you're losing now. Your job is not to win anymore. Your job is to lose less. The only way mathematically to lose less is to collect more credits. So it's my mistake. We're talking about the fact that I told you to sell a credit put spread first thing in the morning, like 4 times, regardless of my chart says. I gave you what I would do with a credit call spread this morning multiple times. In fact, I said sell 2 credit put spreads. I said you sell one, and if the market rallies, you sell another one above it. So you would collect $100 to offset your loss. So by the end of the day, if you did that today, by the end of today, you would reduce your loss down to half. And you can still roll it to tomorrow and do the same thing tomorrow, and you come out flat. You can wait, but the danger in waiting, you get a trend day like this one, you're blown out. So another way to do it is to buy a call at the open. You risk losing some money on the call, but you're losing now. So if we turn around and head south, you don't lose anything. You don't win, but you don't lose. And if we continue higher, the call would have brought you a few $100 that would have offset your losses. You would be green by now, probably. Where did we open? So we got $2. So you'd have gotten $200 to $300 per contract if you bought a call at the open. Just make a note of that for next time. So now on this dip, if somebody bought a put and the put is losing later in the day, not the same conversation, you use this dip to fix your problem. We're not guaranteed red ticks to last, and this will be a normal dip to touch base on top of the orange box in order to establish it as footing. This is a mathematically significant line. 60580 has Fibonacci ties to Fibonacci. So they're likely to pay attention to it. The credit call spread from this morning, if somebody's still in it, you are still statistically viable to win. I wouldn't back out of it now. I would not back out of it now. In fact, I would open it now if I didn't have it, if I wanted to do a bearish trade for today. It's set at 6,100 or 6,105. I think you can do either of those two. You can sell an iron butterfly at 60. No, you can't. I don't have clues for it. I tell you one thing, there's a huge thing going on at 540 on the QQQ. Let's see what that is. 1, 2, 3. $81,000 calls and 55,000 puts. Let's see if it registers on. And the algo flow is trying to stay positive. It's almost gone negative. Okay, there it is. 540, $2 million, and tomorrow. Net. So bot calls sold puts at 540 today. I don't think we go above 540 in the QQQ. So is there anything we can sell above 540 to make us money? No. So NDX. I haven't traded ZRDT NDX ever. NDX is not forgiving, so don't mess around with it. NDX, $10 wide. Okay. If you want to risk $900, I can sell the 2240 credit call spread for today. NDX gives $110. I don't know how liquid that is. Volume, yeah, liquid enough. 300 and 700 transactions today. Delta 13. BC, you're not asking me for sure. Okay. You've already asked me several times, and I've already addressed it before the market opened, after, at the market open, during the market open, and several times thereafter. The the first thing I would have done this morning, if I was in trouble with the credit call spread, is bring in opposite money, sell a put spread, buy a call. I mentioned it on multiple occasions. Okay, you're you're just asking me to sell a put spread where I just bought a put. I'm not in the same position you are, so I don't know your portfolio completely. I know you're struggling with a credit call spread, but you have other trades, so I cannot judge what you should do. I told you what I would do at the open, a little bit after the open. Right now, we're at highs that we have had for 20 days and 6 months. Not a place I start longs. Do with that information as you may. How about I rephrase it? If you waited this long before you sold the credit put spread, I think you can wait another 20 minutes. Or you can sell it now. Okay. That is not what I said, by the way. Okay? Okay. Because the one I would sell for tomorrow would be late in the day today, after I roll the one from today. Don't exit. I don't know what you have anymore. I lost track. I tell you what I'm doing. I tell you what I would do, and then you do what you want. That's how it works. I'm not an account manager. I look at price and see where it goes, and then I suggest my trades. And if you have trades in trouble, and I have a similar trade, I have a very similar trade, but it doesn't expire today. If I woke up at a credit call spread in the money or at the money today, I would immediately sell a credit put spread. And if we had a trend day like this one, I would sell another one. So now I would have had $200 in credits. So my reduction, my losses would have been reduced down to by 1/3. I would not sell one for tomorrow. Yes. No. I just literally said if I waited this long to sell one, I can afford to wait another 20 minutes. But you said you sold one for tomorrow, so it's moot. It's you've done what you've done. I think you're trading too much, but I've told you that weeks ago, and we had this. You know what? I'm gonna stop talking because I said before we go in this in circle. You get me whipped up, and it just doesn't give you anything that you're using. So I'm just gonna shut up about it. I'll tell you what I would do, and then I move past it. You do what you want. I'll just ignore your tweets. Your questions will be answered, but your comments I will ignore. I will answer your questions regardless. But when you say something, I'll just ignore it. It's my bad. Tom, what time frame is this? 1 hour? Okay. Busy morning. The XLV could play a role, a bearish role, or a breakout role. Let's see. So the XLV, that's healthcare. They are out of favor. They are nowhere near their highs, by the way. That's why they're out of favor. They have an evil, not an evil. They have an enemy that has powerful weapons going after them. 133 is an area of opportunity, but if they cannot break out, they will drop back down to like 131.6 towards the lows of the day. And they are, I can't remember exactly. I'm gonna say 7. They count as much as a mega cap, like 5 to 8%. I honestly don't remember. I want to say 7, 6 or 7. So they you should pay attention to them. They are inside this band here. Okay. I still isolate the KRE because it has given us good clues of late. Yesterday, believe it or not, oh, I told you I have a thesis on the KRE. So I looked up who actually presented the KRE. If I'm not mistaken, it's State Street. And State Street is tied to PIMCO, which is old money. If anybody has the drop on information, it's those two entities. They know before everybody else. That's how the KRE behaves before. That's a theory that if they're connected and they get information, the market makers in that, I can't imagine they don't play their own thing in there indirectly. So the KRE might be getting clues ahead of time of the broader markets. With this White House more so than ever. Right. So that's how you can explain how come this KRE is leading the market. What's going on? That's a pretty big green candle out of nowhere. The XLF is looking to break out from the high of the day. So let's watch it. This will be the first time where the KRE does not signal a breakout in the XLF in recent history. Oh, the XLV. Ha. As soon as I mentioned the XLV, an opportunity, watch. Boink. There you go. I just mentioned it. I said, watch the XLV. Good Lord. Bye. Step up to the plate when the other tickers may have been snoozing. That's a 30-second chart. Let's go to 5 minutes. We don't need to watch it that fast. These are the XL, this and that. The opportunity is if they can take out the recent fail, the target would be above the overnight highs. There you go. Here's somebody who shorted and hedged their short. I just mentioned it, the call. I just mentioned that the 540 call is off the chain, and it's bought calls, sold puts. They have a ton of calls and a ton of puts, and as interpreted by Tradieticks, they deemed them bought calls because they went on the ask and sold puts. So the initiator of the bought calls is knows something, but it's not bullish. In other words, it's not a magnet. It's a hurdle. That's why I said sell a credit call spread above it. It's not red. It's not a negative gamma magnet. It's a positive gamma hurdle, according to Tradieticks. We'll see. In case you missed it, somebody's asking. I bought one put for the 30th in the XSP at the money. One, to get it out of my system. This way I don't have to look at it again. It was, what did I say, 350? 349. You can look at the fill. That's mine. You can find it. $349. That was my limit, and it filled at that, so I probably gave it up. It's not the battle. It's what everybody is piled into calls. So if we want to pay out all those winners, let's go. Otherwise, I sell a call spread above it and see if I can make money from it. That's why I said the credit call spread on 22,240 on the NDX might be the way to trade this. It's $120, $130, $120, $125. 110. It jumps. Warning, not liquid to fill. And quotes are pretty crazy. So don't trade it late in the day. I haven't traded 0DTE NDX ever. I haven't traded weekly NDX in years. I only traded the NDX last year, long distance shots. Like I would right now sell a $50 wide credit call spread months later on a spike. That's how I would short it. I haven't traded short term NDX options because they are nasty when they go bad. But we have a thesis. We have a bunch of calls piled in at 540 on the QQQ. Maybe this one will survive. You're going to get pressured. Like now it's back to 105, 110, 95, 105, 120. You see how quickly, and we're not moving a lot, yet that thing is moving pretty quickly. NDX, that's the index. It's cash settled, there's no assignment. So you're risking $900, $870 to make $120. Now it's back to 100. 105. So maybe you open it, you collect whatever it gives you, 120, and then you turn around and say, book me out for 80. So this way you make 55, 60 bucks like that if we get a couple of red ticks and you don't have to wait out the day. All right, now 605.60, 605.50 is a line that I can see they're fighting over short term, right? The Bulls want to stay on top of my orange box. Then they already took, I would say, almost one half of it. Almost 607 and change. We said 607.40 would be the whole box. What am I talking about? This box. Okay. Whoops. Or half. Look at that. 611 would be half of it. The Bears want to come back down inside the box to avoid 611 high or the orange line, to avoid the green or orange. Otherwise, we are on rails to get there. And we have so many soldiers to get us there. Apple hasn't even started bouncing. Alphabet haven't even started bouncing. So NVIDIA, we just showed you, is so coiled up at the top right-hand corner of my screen. Look how coiled it is. NVIDIA wants to break out. Okay, Nick, SR, Oracle. Oracle is hitting some level that I deemed important. What is that? I don't have a note, so I guess I'm going to have to pull up the chart to see what that can be. What? Wait a minute. How is that possible? That this... Oh, okay. So that's a study alert. Like one of my metrics inside of the study, because that's not a level that I had deemed important. Interesting. I'm still down 16% on that Oracle put, so I can sit in it one more day and see what happens. Micron is going to make a big difference in all of these techie stocks, even though it's not the same business, but it'll be. All right. We have a broadening wedge, which would get us to the green line if they confirm the breakout. Who's going to lead the breakout? We have Berkshire. Oh, hello, Berkshire. Okay. So it erased the scenario I mentioned this morning. Yesterday, I mentioned the really bad scenario for Berkshire, really bad. This morning, they avoided it. And I said, if they don't break out from 616, 613's highs, that scenario still is there. Well, today, they not only broke out from 613, they're about to break out from early June. 404.99. They just did. Boom, 495. 494.99. They just did 495. That's an amazing move on Berkshire. All right. So I've been saying Berkshire represents the market because it's made up of companies that Warren Buffett deems solid business decisions, right? Look at the rally it can have from this descending wedge. So it can go on to 510, 520. I am short Berkshire, but very much in control and very profitable. I only have two setups left. Short at 550, 550, so way above all of this stuff for September, and 650 for December. So they're played out. They are 50% and 90% of their gains. That doesn't include the ones that expired already. So I'm not going to add bearish positions. I'm mentioning it because it is 11 to 12% of the XLF, which is 12 to 15, 14% of the SPY. So it is an important contributor to the S&P. And if it's coming alive, then that's something to watch. All right. I'm holding a put because KRE is not as happy as the S&P, and I decided to hold it for Monday, the 30th, in the XSP at the money. I paid 349 for it. It's situated at 608. I don't know what it is right now. It is 349. Oh, 355. I'm making $6. $6. I'm rich. My German Shepherd is so bougie. I give him a snack. He sniffs it and looks at the other hand. What else you got? He doesn't take it until he sees that the other hand is empty. Here's the funniest thing ever. He's very picky eater, believe it or not. If I make him his dinner and if I poured kibble, put it on the ground, even if I mixed it with water to make it softer or something, he doesn't touch it. He doesn't. If I pick it up and just stir it up and make believe like I'm cooking something into it, he'll eat it. He wants to know that I'm making his food like I make mine. No joke. So every day I have to make believe like I'm making him a meal. Sometimes I put pieces of ham in it. Yeah, but you hand him the same bowl, he'll eat it. He'll think, okay, now it's been cooked. And funny, we have puppy food and big food, and if I give the puppy big dog food, he loves it, and if I give the big dog food puppy food, he loves it. So I mix half and half now. All right, so we have a miniature breakout that should lead us to the words 611 high. And we have a breakout brewing in the mega caps on the middle right-hand side of the screen. That one, it's brewing. What's working against it is this guy right there. You can't see it on YouTube. The poke pre-open. There was a super spike, whatever that is. So even if you trigger it at where they are, 904, you have a seller at 905.5. These values don't mean anything to you because it's the addition of all of these tickers, but they are a good reference point for us. So you have all the XL, XLF, VICKLE, BPY in here. and NVIDIA here. I should put the mega caps all together back in here. See, they took out their overnight high. These guys have not. And if they do, there's another one lying right at there. Rising wedges create a precarious position with regards to triggering a wolf wave that has these built into it, which would be normal price action in buying dips, making highs, buying dips, making highs, buying dips. So use these dips to fix your problems and or buy calls to trade the trend. So this has been the pivotal point, and now we have another one inside this here. So I wish I can turn this around, because now we have a base built inside this box. I'll leave it yellow because it was yellow on the way up. Any approach of this top half of this should find a lot of support. Then if this is lost, you have backup support in the bottom half. The high points of volume today, 605.20, 604.80, and 604.50. Not sure it's going to come into play, but if we do fall, those are 3 points of volume. Overall volume, we have a void of volume until we get back into the yellow box. Ignore. Mm-hmm. The VIX futures are pinched into a move. Either we have a big burst on the SPY or a big drop on the SPY, guessing by the VIX futures. It's coming. I vote down if this has been a telltale sign. But here's my tell that there's a squeeze in the VIX futures. The 5 minutes, look at it. It has not made a lower low. So it's either looking to break down completely, and this will have, they will get to 607.20, or it bounces up a little bit, and this one drops into the top end of the yellow box. So that's what I'm watching now. I just wanted to give you a visual. These are very short-term comments, and trying to predict what's going to happen next in a headline-rich environment. Haha, 588.79. In case you missed it, There it is. The funny part is there was action at 588 yesterday in the options that was unusual, and we looked at it and we said, "That's pretty crazy. What's going on there?" After hours, that's what went on. There is no reason why the S&P should fail at breaking out at any opportunity today. The buyers have the talking points, and even when they don't, they ignore it, because I know for a fact that there have been bombings since the announcement of the so-called ceasefire. So we don't have a ceasefire, but the market doesn't give a crap because they wanted to rally anyway, which proves the point that um, most headlines don't create a new price path. They just expedite the one that was coming anyway, and they sometimes, in the process, overshoot. So, um, if indeed it was a long-lasting ceasefire that more than one person actually acknowledged existing, then I would be ready to celebrate as well. But I just saw a clip of Trump himself using the F word, saying how these two countries don't know what they're doing, which means there is no ceasefire because Israel sent bombs over to Iran since then. You guys can confirm or not. That's what I just saw on Twitter, a video. But the market is rallying anyway. So there goes my point. We were going to rally anyway. Yeah, okay. It's priced in. I don't know what is priced in. Yeah, okay. I don't need to know. I don't have anybody that lives in Iran, but I want the whole thing to stop. But I'm speaking to with regards to price action, headline to price action. Okay. So what I'm saying is it's not about the headlines. The headline was just an excuse. The price action was bullish. They were buying dips and making higher highs for weeks. So we said we're looking for a change in behavior, which didn't come. Therefore, we just made a higher high in the process of buying the next dip that may come today or tomorrow and make a higher high. Try to make another higher high. That's my point. That it's not about the news, although the news looks like it caused it. We are buying dips and making a higher high. That's a fact. I say it every day. On those short term 30-second charts, 5-minute charts, you may notice a change in behavior. We haven't seen evidence of it. Every time we make a higher high, we tick the clock back to zero. We have no evidence of it be a top. A top is a topping process. So if we don't take out that 611 high, which would be a miracle, if we don't take out the 1218 highs, which we are doing in the process right now, if you don't make a higher high, all-time high, which is 1% above here, I think, then buy the next dip, because the program is we buy the dip and we make a higher high. That's the program. So the behavior would be, if you're short a call spread and you get a dip, get out. The way I didn't lose money last year and I made money shorting the whole year is because I respected that fact. And I took advantage of every relief dip we got to fix a broken trade, to make sure that, like, for example, if today we drop $3 out of nowhere, if let's say we just end up being at 603 for no reason today, I wouldn't sit there. I would run to my credit call spreads and fix them. How? Buy a call. You fix all of them with one call. Period. You're done. That's all you got to do. Close it, roll it, sell a big credit put spread, do something. So, beep. SPY expected to take out the high tick of 611. There you go. They just took out the high tick of 611. And where's the VIX futures? Still not below 19.4. Wow. And Apple is starting to contribute a little bit more than before. The XLV broke out and stayed up. Nvidia starting to break out of that little squeeze, starting to. If Nvidia takes out the high of its day, we go to 607.40. We go to the orange line. Nvidia is 7% of the SPY. Tesla, not very happy today, but hey, it worked hard. All right, looking at options. $2 of downside pressure on the SPY, $4, $3 of downside pressure on the XSP, $2 of downside pressure on the QQQ. The IWM is fine. The IWM is reasonable. Price action versus options. The credit call spread in the QQQ, the NASDAQ I mentioned, is still $1.30. $1.30 is still a good idea the way it is. If you're, let me see, can I take it higher once? If I go one strike higher, you can take it a strike higher and collect $110 or $100. So if it fills for you at 22.50, 60 credit call spread for today, that QQQ works. It gives you $10 of buffer. That delta is 0.14. The other one is 0.17. I don't know if I would do a credit put spread with that. If you do, holy moly, you can go to 22,060. So that's a delta 15 and collect another $100 or 110. So in total, you would collect $200 to $220, and you'll be in an iron condor that allows for a big drop and a little rally more than here. That's also doable. But again, the warning on the NDX is not liquid, very dangerous. If you don't have experience using credit spreads, the NDX is not where you start. I haven't traded 0DTEs NDX ever because I stopped trading short-term NDX before they brought about 0DTEs. $6095 is the highest gamma magnet. It's minus 1,000. Are we there? Almost. So 0.6 SPY would get us there. 606 is the highest magnet on the SPY. We are already there. So that becomes downside pressure. KRE not happy, not as happy here last 20 minutes or so. Mega caps are still at the highs of the day, and these guys are looking to break out. So in theory, they did break out. They just need to confirm it. Are you sure about that? No, it's close. It's inches. I forgot we have YouTube YouTube guests. I ignored your I ignored you. Where is it? There we go. Oh, thank you, Atlan. I appreciate it. I just saw you. Am I neutral, NVIDIA? NVIDIA should be at 180. I don't know why it isn't. If IBM is at all-time highs, NVIDIA should be at 180. Meta, 3-minute chart. Looks like good level to bounce. Okay. That might be an old message. Meta. 704. 703 to 702.90. 704 through 702.90 is your base for the day. But now you should ask yourself, is 708 a problem? Let's see. I think we go to 606.45 next. We'll see on the SPY while I change the ticker to Meta. Meta. 705.93 is a target for Meta, and another target would be 705.60. Let's see if they go there. And they avoided, wow, it's going there fast on Meta. I'm watching a 30-second chart on Meta. So it's starting to make lower lows and lower highs, confirmed 123, 123. They have a large base at 704.5, and you don't want to lose this wick, which is 703.30. I think that should give you enough. Tesla levels, okay. 340.1 would be anything it does any day in the last 30 days. 332 would be one standard deviation beyond that. And 335 would be probably an area of support. 335, 332. On the way up, expect sellers at 350, 351.7, 357 or higher. Headline stock. Don't overstay your welcome in winning trades. If you're an investor, hold it. Don't short it. So I don't understand how the XLF is not exploding. Is there somebody falling in the XLF? This one? Okay, so Berkshire is taking away bids from Bank of America and Wells Fargo, traditional banks. Intraday comments, of course. These guys are up and away. These guys, how are they in business? I don't know. How are these guys allowed to be in business? I don't know. This is a ratings agency, right? MasterCard and Visa cannot hold their... Oh, yeah, it's green. MasterCard is green. Okay. They had their own crypto news today. The XLF broke out finally. I was like, how is that possible that Berkshire is doing what it's doing and the XLF is not broken out? It was like right there. BKK, up, up, and away. And finally, the XLF followed. It's been stuck. And the XLF counts as 2 mega caps. Apple and NVIDIA together would be 1 XLF. And at the same time, the VIX futures did drop. So that burst coincides with the VIX futures. We were looking at the same stuff. And the hope of them holding for more upside, no more upside, is gone. Apple as well woke up to help offset whatever weakness comes from the ones that are not participating, like Alphabet. Apple said, I got this. Why is this happening today? It finally also woke up. It's still far away from the rest, but it is catching up fast. And there you go. They want the whole target. They want the orange line. An all-time high on the Qs for sure by now, right? 8 right here. Almost, maybe, yes. Squint, you'll see it. I mean, there's one tick above it. The high is 0.81, 540.81. 540.81. Yep. I was not at the desk when SPX pulled back. How does it look closing above it today? Baljit, we are above all the calls. The price right now is above every options there is. Calls, puts, everything. So the highest call is 6,100. It has, I think, 80,000 transactions. And above that, there are no puts. There are no calls to speak of. We're just hovering in the stratosphere. The magnets were at 6085. They moved them up to 6095 and 6100. So those are the magnets on the SPX from gamma perspective. There's a giant 540 call position or transaction that is deemed bought calls. Okay, so I am confident that they don't want to close above that on the QQQ. Meanwhile, everything you look at is at the highs of the day or trying to, and the ones that are not are ready to bounce when they sell the other ones. So instead of talking politics here, let's not. I'm going to request that we end the conversation about politics because it's fruitless. Anytime I mention anything political is to try and forecast price action. I don't want to know who's going to do a coup where. What? What's that word? I don't know what that word is. My resistance levels are blown. Those are the resistance levels. It's right there in orange. January 127. I don't own these lines. These are data points on the chart. They're facts. Luckily, it's not an interpretation. Those are actual lines from the chart and dated. 611, we failed at 606.40. 127, we failed at 607.40. December 18th, we failed at that red box on the left. They're on the chart right there. Orange, green, red box, yellow box. Your first line of support, the yellow box. The first line of resistance, 611. The date on 611, the green line. They went over it. It's still resistance. This is a 30-second chart, so they haven't closed there. The orange line is the next line that has failed before. Those are day tops, not tick tops. Okay, this is not a crash up. April 9th was a crash up. This is just a 1% move, a melt up. I also don't know what that means. He's on vacation. We can't place a blame on him for anything. All right, so I can tell you what I see, and I can tell you what I do, and I can tell you what I would do in your shoes. I can't make you do anything. So I don't make up lines. I don't make up rules. I go with the flow. And if something hits me hard, I act on it. And when I ask a question to somebody and somebody gives me an opinion, I choose to do it or not to do it. And if I don't do it, I own it. I don't go back and say, you told me. I'm not answering that question anymore. You can. I've answered it too many times. You do what you want. Yeah. So if I'm shorting right here, if I'm starting a short right here, I would put time on the clock. So if I buy a put for 6:30, I can sell one for today or sell one for tomorrow against it, create a diagonal of sorts. The easiest way to short, fresh, sell a call spread, buy a put spread. The easy way to get long, sell a put spread, buy a call or a call spread, or buy a call calendar. It all depends on your portfolio now, all depends on your thesis. Micron reports earnings tomorrow night. The report should be solid as hell. The message, I have no idea, but it should be good. How the market perceived it is a coin toss because Nvidia did all of those and it still fell, or at least it didn't rally. So we have that tomorrow. If I'm short, and if I buy $5,000 worth of puts, why on earth would I not buy a few calls? So if I buy 2 or 3 SPX puts, which are thousands of dollars, say 10, 20 days out, why wouldn't I spend a few $100 buying SPY calls shorter term? Or selling a pretty large credit put spread for the next couple of days to take the opposite side of my bet. So this is what concerns me. I see too many people in this room that are very binary. They just say, I'm long or I'm short. So half of you made a lot of money today and half of you lost a lot of money today. But there was no skill involved except betting right. Well, that works in Vegas too. There's no science to it and it's not sustainable and it's not repeatable and dependable. So you get lucky 5 times and then literally today, somebody said, man, I haven't lost in 3 weeks. And suddenly now I'm facing a big loss because they were doing the same thing for 3 weeks and they thought it was a system. And then they found out it's not a system. So notes, you take notes, you change your behavior, and you put a system. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that holding calls and puts overnight in this environment, you leave a lot to chance. Chance is gambling. Gambling is not a science. It is more chance than science. So I'd rather miss out on an opportunity than put money in gambling. I would go to Vegas. You'd have free booze, I guess they give you. Permissions. If you bought a put and you're doing well with it, scalp because they're buying dips and making higher highs. That's a dip. They're going to make a higher high or at least try to. I'm going to go back to watching the KRE. I bought the put because of the KRE underperformance. Remember that. Okay. So until I'm proving wrong, I'm going to trade that. BC, I've offered you too much information on it. And if I tell you to sell it now and it goes lower, you're going to blame me for it. Just like you blame me for not telling you to sell it earlier, even though you ignored the first two or three sells. So I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay. The same answer for me. If I haven't gotten out of my short yet, that's not where I start defending it. That statement hasn't changed. We're barely a dollar, not even a dollar from where I said those words. So that's me. You're a different person. You manage your risk differently. You act too fast. You act too much compared to me. So we're not the same. I would not add a credit put spread here if I waited this long. I would have added one miles away and another one. I would not have waited until now. So if I made the mistake to wait until now, I wouldn't compile my mistake and add a credit put spread now. I would rather buy a call than sell a credit put spread if I have risk to manage out in time. If it's for today, I made my bed, I should lie in it and roll it and see what happens tomorrow. I'm going to be on mute for a few minutes. I have to make a call. They keep trying to push Gemini on me. I don't want it. Didn't sound good. So look at this quiet period in this KRE right here. It's been a superstar for a while. Look at how quiet it is. What's it planning? A pop or a drop? This guy. I know it's small potatoes, but it's been on fire. I thought I saw a weird tick in something. Was it the KRE? There was a ticker that it had a wick that went to the moon. This morning I was on my phone and I came across it. Let me see if I can read. Sometimes my phone remembers. XLP. No. Oh, I think it was the GDX. Yes. Oh, okay. Check this out. It's not here. So I'm looking at Thinkorswim, a GDX chart on, God, I can't tell what day that is. The 17th, between the 17th and 18th, there's a wick that goes to 58.60. 58.55. I don't know if this is 617. Not sure what that's all about. Is this a place to re-enter shorts? Like scalping shorts down to 606? Let me check. Well, we still have a magnet at 6100 on the SPX, and it's sizable. Another one at 1595, and we are right there. So that's going to keep us where we're at. There, the largest magnet is 606, so that's a little bit of downside. So you can take a short based on that. Now, 540 should be a wall for the QQQ. That's another thesis that we're playing today. 540 should be a wall. And it's just because the all-time highs and people are saying I'm shorting the all-time high with a stop. A lot of people do that. So it's dangerous, but it's a tradable thing. So if you can trade it and live life dangerously, that's something you can do. Let's see here. Let me update you on that iron condor I was mentioning earlier. So the credit call spread that I mentioned earlier is still alive on the NASDAQ, NDX. It was set at 22250, $10 wide, or 22240, $10 wide. It's up to you. If you took the first one, it's 22240, and they pay more than $100, between $100 and $140. So that is to assume that 540 doesn't get breached today. Dangerous because the headline, we are in headline mode. That's why it's dangerous. It's not dangerous because it's just scientifically placed with delta that is conducive for it. Now, I also offered you, maybe you do it into an iron condor, and the credit put spread would be at 22060 zone. Combined, if you take both of those, you should collect $220 to $250, thereby reducing the maximum money lost if we blow up or break down. If I'm long the market, this will be my exit. If I'm looking to go long the market, I would set alert just below here and buy the dip as a trade. It all depends on your time frame. All depends on your skill. It all depends on your current portfolio. There is no one size fits all. There is a method and a behavior, and if this happens, I do that, and if that happens, I do this. That's all there is to it. We opened green, dipped, and we have had a trend day for the whole day. This is one of those few days that it was one-sided. Started green, and it's green, 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 except for the initial dip. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're buying dips to make higher highs. This was a dip. We need to make a higher high. Now, if you tell me that we don't make a higher high before we get to 606.20, that's a small change in behavior. So if you want to short for this prospect, that's okay. This will be the downside scenario for that, if that's what you're watching for. Okay, so if you buy a put, it's for this arrow. You should know there's a lot of support in the middle of the arrow as well. I'll be right back. That's my dog in the background. Once again, let me clarify this arrow. Okay. What's going on today? Buying dips, higher highs. Buying dips, higher highs. This is a dip that should result in a higher high. Okay? So this doesn't look quite right, but here, I'll do it better. That was a small dip. Okay? This should happen. If it doesn't, and we take out this blue line, we will have a chance at the blue arrow, and that would be a small change in behavior at a very fast chart. Not at the end of the world. Until then, this is the path. So if I buy a put saying this is the one that is not going to repeat, these are called ascending inverted scallops. They look like half umbrellas. They will keep repeating as long as you can hold the middle of the way. So you can say that this held the middle of the way. This held the middle of the way. This, if it comes, it needs to hold the middle of the way to do another one, so on and so forth. So if it doesn't, and it makes a lower low, this scallop would be broken and would maybe say, we're done today. And in the process, it would draw some sort of a head and shoulders eventually to get us in the middle of the yellow box, as long as you accept that this is going to probably happen. So yeah, you can take a put knowing you're going to take some beatings. And if you don't, this is your reward. All right? So this is the best way I can explain it to you. I'm not bearish. I'm just telling you how the rally ends today. And if you bought calls here, this is your target, 607.40. Don't do anything. You're going there. Buy a call on the next dip. Like I said, if somebody said, would you sell a credit put spread? What did I say? I would rather buy a call at this level, but depends on the portfolio. So I don't like to buy anything. That's why the first thing I would do is sell a bunch of puts and put spreads when the market opens. Use other people's money. Like the government, yeah? Yeah, buddy, man. We get taxed up the wazoo in America. You make money, you get taxed. The company you work for gets taxed for its money. The company, the things they sell get taxed at the retail level. If you buy it at the retail level, if it's a car, you have to pay tax on the car. And even if you sell it and make money, you have to pay tax on that one. For the house, it's even worse. And you're buying it with money you already been taxed on. Whoa. 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 Yeah. So listen, those crazy people that live off the grid, they're not so crazy. There's some freedom to it. Yeah, property taxes. Property taxes. Yo, so here's my take. If my son says, I want to buy a house, I would say, don't. Go buy a business. The money you're going to put in your house, buy a business that makes money. And then buy a car or rent a nice house with the money it produces. At least not at all-time highs housing. Whew. We're just shooting the you know what while we wait for this. Live in an RV and have a Starlink. You know it. Okay, I need to update this. YouTube people, I've ignored you today. It's just a lot of stuff going on. Drum roll. This drum roll you can hold. If you can hold this drum roll, it's going to be exciting. So the VIX futures did make a lower low finally. It held on all day. The VIX hasn't. So now we have this. The VIX is trying to hold the floor. The VIX futures is kind of limping along a little bit. Apple did its thing. Nvidia did its thing. The XLF, wow. The XLV, holy crap. We call that breakout opportunity. Berkshire did a lot. The XLI is exploding. So Caterpillar, Deer, in spite of LMT maybe and RTX, probably I would guess those two are red. So we have a lot of potential playing out at the same time. It's really hard to stop it. That's why we're at all-time highs. But we have priced in perfection. So the first hint of imperfection will come on a slow time frames, fast time frames like this one, low and fast time frames like 30-second charts. I'm going to get cut off from you people. We have 185 people here, probably 188 or 190 if you count the people on the phone. If you lose my screen, I'll log right back in. It probably will take me 30 seconds. Red tick alert. Red tick alert. Okay, so now this is the test. Can they hold the blue line? Not the end of the world. It's just a one inverted scallop that's broken. Just one. If they finish the blue arrow, if they take half the blue arrow, the ascending inverted scallop would be broken. Look it up. If you want to go look it up, there's a website called the Pattern Site. Just spelled it all of it. The Pattern Site. It's old. It looks like Craigslist. You know, there's nothing pretty about it, but it has solid, old school technical rules. You can look it up. Ascending inverted scallops. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. They give you all the parameters that would make it or break it. For me, it's very easy. If it looks like a right-hand side of an umbrella, you got one. It looks like upside down fish hooks. So this one is already not looking like one, right? And I'm pretty sure the rule is halfway. You cannot, this would no longer be considered one if it loses halfway. But then now we would have had, if we do a lower low, one lower high and one lower low. Then the question is, are we going to do this for a few minutes? This could still be bullish, but it's a change in behavior since we have been buying dips and higher highs, doing the opposite here. So basically, we would be asking, are we flipping the story? So you guys potentially see breakouts, right? Doesn't this look like a breakout potential? Yes. So why wouldn't it look like a breakdown potential? Yeah, somebody asked me, would I buy a put? I forgot who it was. I said I would, knowing that I could have to suffer that green path that never unfolded. If this is where you're buying a call because the green path is going to unfold in the things you're watching, this is where you buy a call, because this is where they just bounced. This is where they're going to try to bounce, and this is where they're going to try to go to 607. If they go to 607 flat, that's a higher high. You think they're going to stop there? No, they're going to get to that orange line, inverted scallop or not. First of all, it's not broken yet. So if you're buying a call now, you're not crazy. If you're holding a put, you're also not crazy. Tiebreakers, let's go. Let's see if we have any gamma information. The algo flow is still trying to stay flat. It is reddish greenish. Reddish greenish. It's zero. The algo flow is zero. The gamma pressure still hasn't changed. The wall on the QQQ is now 539 and 540. It's growing. And 607 is the largest magnet by far on the SPY. As far as options, we still have about $2 of downside pressure from the XSP. The XSP is the most bearish of them all. The SPY, $1. There are a lot of put buyers that brought up the put line to where it makes sense okay to not to have to fall a lot. The IWM is the best. Very nice. The options chain is very orderly, clean. The calls are where they're supposed to be. The puts are where they're supposed to be. Beautiful. It's like a perfect volume profile if you were looking at charts. The Qs is a complete mess. Absolutely the complete mess. You have 106,000 call transacted at 540 and 151,000 puts and 151,000 calls. And that's the highest combination. I'm doing air math here. But that same wall exists for 3 levels below. So it's a complete mess. If I was a market maker, I would not want to close higher than here. That's for sure. And if we close $2 lower than here, I wouldn't be too sad. So if we come down to 604, like the yellow box, middle of the yellow box, that would be sweet. If I was a market maker. If I sold all the calls and puts today, I would want to be in the yellow box at the bell. All right. YouTube, gonna have to say goodbye. I'm not dealing with anything, just a few misunderstandings. I appreciate the sentiment, though. Thank you for being here, popping in on YouTube. Join, man. Join. Some of you are members. You're just being nice over there. I promise you, we do great work. Fast trades, slow trades. You can come in and hassle me. You know it firsthand, Atlan. Okay. All right, I'm going to cut you loose. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.